Let us now start with defects in solids. We are going to study uh, like point defects, line defects, and surface defects. Basically, these defects are normally arising due to processes like heat treatment or hammering or some surface excitation. So there are numerous reasons behind the formation of these defects in solids, and they can be again categorized into point, line, and surface defects. Now let us study what are defects or imperfections. Any deviation from an ordered atomic arrangement in a crystal is said to be defect. We have an atomic arrangement like this. A B C D, A B C D, like it is continuous in the direction. This is a normal condition. Adding alloy to metal is also said to be one way of creating crystal defect. Whenever we add any alloy to this parent crystal, this is also a form of creating defect. Crystal imperfections affect properties of crystals like strength, electrical conductivity, hysteresis, loss of ferromagnetics. Many such things of crystals are controlled by imperfections and by the nature of host crystal. Okay. So what we do, like we control these imperfections and then control the nature of host crystal to get different kind of properties, what is our requirement, as per our requirement. On the other hand, conductivity of some semiconductor is due entirely due to trace amount of chemical impurities. Like for semiconductors, it is because of trace impurities that its properties are improved. Okay. Similarly, mechanical properties, plastic properties, color, luminescence of many crystals arise from impurities and imperfections only. So imperfections and impurities are also desirable at many places, that we improve the properties, but if they become undesirable, they become defects. Okay. So defects in crystals we will be classifying as per the kind of their dimensional analysis. So we have point imperfections, line imperfections. Point imperfections means zero dimensional effects, means they are just like points, because points have no dimensions, that is why they are called as point imperfections. Line imperfections are in the form of a line, and plane or surface imperfections means they are two dimensional defects, they extend over a surface, maybe a plane, xy plane or yz or zx plane. Volume imperfections, they have three dimensional variables, and the dimension in three dimensional defects are called as. So crystal defects have been again classified into point defects like zero dimension defects, vacancy, Schottky, interstitial, Frankel, and substitutional. Then line defects, we have one dimensional defect, edge dislocation and screw dislocation, very important from examination viewpoint. We have surface defects, two dimensional defect, grain boundaries, tilt boundaries, twin boundaries, and stacking faults. Then volume defects, we have 3D defects, inclusions as well as voids. We will be touching all these topics now. Point defects. What is a point defect? Point defects arise when atom is missing or is in an irregular place in the lattice structure, and normally of the size of 1 or 2 atomic diameters. Means atoms are missing for somewhere, and these defects are normally 1 or 2 size of atomic diameter. So such defects are called as point defects. Means atom is missing or it is placed in some other irregular place where it should not have been, but somehow it is there. Okay. Then we have vacancy. Vacancy is the simplest point defect, which is an empty space where an atom should be but is missing. See this. At this place atom should be, but here it is missing from here. Okay. These are produced because of high temperature, when atoms frequently as well as randomly, either frequently or and randomly change their positions, leaving behind empty lattice sites, or maybe due to imperfect packing during original crystallization, or when the metal is heated up and original crystallization is taking place, such kind of defect develops. Okay. These can be followed by diffusion also, that there is mass transport by atomic motion on a large scale. That is said to be diffusion. Okay. Next we have Schottky imperfection. What is Schottky imperfection? It is a type of vacancy in which atom, being free from regular site, migrates through successive steps and eventually settles at the crystal surface. We have one, maybe it is a sodium chloride, one sodium then chlorine, sodium chlorine, let the white one be sodium and other chlorine, some halides are there. See here it is missing from here, and from this place the black one is missing, on other side the white one is missing. These are found in compound in alkali halides which need to maintain a charge balance, means one positive and one negative, both are missing. The combination of anion cation vacancies in pairs is called as Schottky imperfection. Means there is a pair of vacancy, one is positive anion and other is cation. So this is said to be Schottky imperfection. Next we talk about interstitiality or interstitial defect. It is addition of extra atom within a crystal structure if atomic packing fraction is low and results in atomic distortion. If we have low atomic packing fraction, we have studied in the first lecture, we have sufficient space with us. So there is additional extra atom. I have shown you the foreign atom added may form an alloying element, or it can be an impurity also. Okay, means vacancy and interstitiality are inverse phenomena of each other. Okay. Then we have Frankel defect. Frankel defect, how it is formed? Basically it is normally formed when ion is dislodged from the lattice into an interstitial site. It is normally formed when an ion is dislodged from the lattice into an interstitial site. On the whole, we can say that like from one side into from the arrangement it has dislodged and entered some other side. Okay, it is there in the system itself. On the whole, we can say that interstitiality and Frankel defects are less in number as compared to vacancies and Schottky defects. Okay, so they are more in number and they are less in number. Then is substitutional impurity. What is substitutional impurity? Substitutional impurity atom is an atom of different type than the bulk atoms which has replaced one of the bulk atoms in the lattice. Okay, means it is different from the bulk atoms but it has replaced one of the atoms. These impurity atoms are usually close in size within range of 15%. Yes, means if their size is within the 15% of the bulk atom, they are very easy, it becomes very easy for them to replace the atoms. For example, in brass, zinc atoms with radius of 0.134 nanometer has replaced some of copper atoms. Some of copper atoms which have a radius of 0.129 nanometer. Means in the formation of brass, zinc replaces copper because their size is very much comparable within a range of 15%. Also, we have self-interstitial defect wherein in an atom is an extra atom that has crowded its way into interstitial void in the crystal structure. Self-interstitial defects contain only atoms which are the same as those are already present in the lattice and occur only in low concentration in metals because they distort and highly stress the tightly packed lattice structure. Okay, carbon atoms that are added already into the steel, means carbon atoms which have been added to iron to make it steel, so they are already in the present in the crystal structure, but it has crowded its way into some interstitial void, so it is said to be a self-interstitial defect. Then we go to line defects. What are line defects? Line defects are basically deviations from perfectly periodic arrangements of atoms along a line. It is, see how it is happening. We have an arrangement like of atoms like this, and we have a very clear marked line where below portion we have another arrangement of line. It is a linear disturbance of atomic arrangement which can move very easily on the slip plane through the slip plane. Line defects or dislocations are the regional curve, line or a curve. This is one portion and this is the disturbed portion means, and this is the undisturbed one, and this is the line defect between two. Dislocations are generated and move when stress is applied. Strength and ductility of metals are controlled by dislocations. Means this is the line which is we apply force here, they get disturbed and the lower portion is not affected. So strength and ductility of metals are controlled by these dislocations. They affect the strength and ductility. Two types of dislocation have been classified as edge dislocations and screw dislocations. What is happening in edge dislocation? Let us see. It is an extra plane of atoms within a crystal structure. There is a net increase of energy due to compression and tension. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 we have and 7 we have in the upper row. So there is an extra plane atom. There is an extra plane here. So because of formation of this extra plane, there is net increase of energy due to compressions and tensions, and the diagram clearly mentions arrangement for this for dislocations. The upper portion is like extra plane is there, so it is basically subjected to compression. And the lower portion is subjected to compression, lower is subjected to tension. The interatomic bonds are significantly distorted only in magnitude as shown. Like we have disturbance here, this is the disturbance. After some time, like disturbance goes ahead, means the same disturbance is traveling from one point to another. Finally it has come out. Okay, that one, like one step it was here, then two steps it has taken, and finally it has come out. The dislocation in the top half of the crystal slips one plane at a time. It moves to the right from position A to B and then propagates along the crystal A to B and then emits C, and finally the dislocation propagates through the crystal. The moment of dislocation across the plane eventually causes the top half of crystal to move with respect to bottom half. The top half of crystal moves with respect to bottom half. This line is called as slip plane. Okay, the displacement causes the top of the crystal to move with respect to bottom half. I have discussed. The displacement distance for atoms around the dislocation is called Burger vector and is at right angle to the edge dislocation. Means what is happening? This is the dislocation and the Burger vector is perpendicular to the edge dislocation. Okay, it describes both magnitude and direction of slip. Small fraction of bonds is broken successively, and movement in this manner requires a much smaller force than breaking all the bonds across the middle plane simultaneously. It is very difficult to break all the bonds simultaneously, so it is very easy to break some of them and move the crystal plane ahead. Okay, means there is just one shiftage here, then again that moves, then again goes to C portion. So it is not the content like in a random, like all the vertical lines will move together. No, just one of them. So this is direction of dislocation, and this is edge dislocation, and perpendicular to this we have a Burger vector, which is very important from an examination viewpoint. What is a Burger vector? They will normally ask this question in the exam. Okay, then if we have screw dislocation. Screw dislocation originates from partial slipping of a section crystal plane. It behaves like a screw, like the upper portion separates from the lower portion. We have a clear cut demarcation line. The upper portion and the lower portion, they behave like a screw. It is twisted along the surface, along this surface. Okay, it is twisted. The motion of screw dislocation is also a result of shear stress, but the defect line movement is perpendicular to the direction of stresses as shown in the diagram. So this is a result of a shear stress, but the defect line movement is perpendicular to the direction of shear stress. Okay, let us study this in bit detail. We consider a block of metal with shear stress applied across one end, so that metal begins to get displaced. Means the red portion has displaced. These have not displaced fully, the green colored, and these blue ones, they are yet to displace. Means the atoms represented by blue circle have not moved, by red circle have moved, and green are in the process of move. Blue circles have not moved yet, red circle have moved to new positions and have re-established metallic bonds, and green circles are in the process of motion. At a given time, only a portion of bonds are broken. Movement in this manner requires a smaller force than breaking all the bonds across the middle plane simultaneously, which is smaller to edge dislocation. Means force required is less, which is small as compared to edge dislocation. When the shear forces increased, the atoms continue to slip to the right. A row of green atoms find their way back into the proper slot in the lattice and become red, and a row of blue atoms becomes green. Finally, the screw dislocation will move upward in the image. Let us see, which is perpendicular to the direction of stress. Okay, this is the direction of motion, and it is perpendicular to the direction of stress. So there are differences, following differences between these two. Edge dislocations experience tensile, compressive and shear stresses, whereas screw dislocation has only shear stresses. Okay, so edge dislocation has all the three kind of stresses, whereas dislocation only shear stresses. In edge dislocation, Burger vector is always perpendicular to the dislocation line, where in screw dislocation it is parallel to dislocation. I remember these results. Okay, for screw dislocation, the dislocation line and Burger vectors are parallel, so dislocation may slip in any plane containing the dislocation. For an edge dislocation, again we go through this, dislocation line and Burger vectors are parallel, so dislocation slip may be in any plane. For edge dislocation, the dislocation and Burger vectors are perpendicular, so there is only one plane in which dislocation can slip. So this is very important, this difference is very important, just remember this result, all the three results. Okay. Then we have planar defects. They are very simple defects, very easy to understand. Planar defects are interfaces between homogeneous regions of materials. Means we have two different homogeneous materials and their interface is called as planar defect. Like we have this homogeneous material at the top, and we have another homogeneous material at the bottom, and this interface is called as planar defect because their orientation of crystals is different in both the materials. Green boundaries, tailed boundaries, twin boundaries, stacking faults and ferromagnetic domains come under planar defects. Fine. Then we have surface defects. Two-dimensional regions inside a crystal take place because of change in stacking of atomic planes. On or across a boundary, and arise because of change in stacking of atomic planes on or across a boundary. This is a surface defect. These can be further classified into various types, like we have grain boundary, tailed boundaries, twin boundaries, stacking faults, ferromagnetic domain walls. Okay, so we discuss now in detail external defects. External defects, like what is happening here, imperfections represented by a boundary. Basically they are imperfections represented by a boundary. The upper row of the crystal is energized, it is not in a stable position and has a energy stored in it. The rest of the crystal is stable. It was missing from here, I have just added that, nothing special about that circle. So this is in energized state, the top layer, means this is an external defect which is confined to the upper layer only. Example is like we have top surface of a, maybe we can call it, have you seen a still liquid in a vessel? The still liquid in a vessel is subjected to surface tension, so top surface is disturbed. Liquid, they have surface tension, so the top layer surface is behaving like a tense in a tense manner, so the top surface is having energy stored which is approximately 1 joule per meter square. Okay, they are external defects. Then we have internal defects, like one of them is grain boundaries. Very simple, very important. We have different orientations, we have different grains but having their orientation in different directions. Okay, like this is one orientation, this is another orientation. The angle between these two is theta. Okay, and they are from 10 to 15 degree, they are called as high angle grain boundaries. And the region of we have one this like orientation, this is another orientation. One orientation is separated from other orientation by black lines which are called as grain boundaries. Okay, these are grain boundaries. Okay, so they at the grain boundaries, the two grain boundaries meet each other. Okay, and their size varies from nanometers to millimeters across, and their orientations are used at an angle with respect to neighboring grains. Okay, then we have tilt boundaries, like the surface imperfection or an area of dislocation between two crystals that differ in orientation by only few degrees, consisting of series of edge dislocation. Like we have an extra plane of atoms here. Okay, so like in the first case we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 1 2 3 4, here we have 8 7, earlier we have 7, then we have an extra plane going upwards, then again we have a imperfection going here. So this is there is an extra plane, this causes tilt in the boundary, so it is called a tilt boundaries, and this angle is theta, what is subtended here, and the distance between these 2 points is said to be represented by b, which is magnitude of Burger vector. D is average distance between two dislocation, and theta is angle of tilt. Theta is equal to b by d normally. If 10 degree, it is called high angle grain boundary. Okay, then we have twin boundaries. As the name says, what is a twin boundary? It separates the two parts of crystal having same orientation and their mirror image of each. This portion is mirror image of this side. So just like they are twins, they are produced from atomic displacement which are produced, they are mirror image of each other, and are produced from atomic displacement which are produced from applied mechanical shear forces. Like we apply some shear forces because of this disturbance has taken place, and they are just mirror images of each other. Fine. Orientation is also like in a uniform direction. Twins are produced from each atomic displacement which are produced from applied mechanical shear forces or mechanical twins. Then we have stacking faults, very simple, like we have an arrangement here. They arise because of stacking of one atomic plane extra which comes into the picture. Okay, and sequence is disturbed. Stacking of one atomic plane out of sequence on another and lattice on either side of order. ABC, ABC, ABC is going on here. ABC, ABA. So this is a stacking over here. This is stacking fault. Okay, this is perfect cluster and this is stacking fault. We have this much amount of energy stored for copper and this much energy stored for aluminium. Similarly, we have volume or bulk defects. Volume and bulk defects means they occur on much bigger scale than rest of the crystal defects, and they do affect the moment of dislocation. Voids are said to be the region where large number of atoms are missing from the crystal lattice. Okay, are missing from the crystal lattice due to number of reasons. Why it happens? It can be due to air bubbles becoming trapped upon material solidification. If it is that way, it is called as porosity. If void occurs due to shrinkage of metal, it is called as cavitation. When impurity atoms combine together to form small regions or different phases, these regions are called as precipitates or inclusions. So hope this portion of defects in solids is now clear to you, and in case of any queries, you can revert back to me. Thank you.